What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. It's been a minute since my last upload. That was a very long time ago. So much has happened since then. I'll go into that in a different video, but here today we're looking at the driver changes in F1 2019. Now, I'm using JB's 2020 season mod. Phenomenal job, almost as good as my one, but he absolutely killed it. On screen now, I've got a few differences in my one. This one is actually the original Ferrari chassis, so not using the FOM chassis to get that. This is just the original chassis. I'm going to go through a few of the cars. Obviously this is the Renault, which we'll be using today. Again, with the liveries, he's actually killed it. Like, he's actually done such a good job. Here's the Williams. The Williams, I think, is just exquisite. Again, once an amazing job by JB. But we're going to go into Grand Prix mode. We're going to look and see what we can actually do. So obviously I've done a few changes with the names. So first one you're going to see here, Esteban Ocon in the menu. Obviously the face is there, but that's not through me, that's obviously through JB. But anyway, we're going to go to Bahrain and do Bahrain short and do a little race. On screen now we've got a few things you can see here. This is for the career mode stuff. So if you look at Giovinazzi is German, which was Lucas Faber, and Science was Butler. So I'm going to look at working on the flag mods. On this screenshot you can see the team names have been changed as well. Again, that's something that's just specifically for career mode. It doesn't exactly have a hindering effect on anything else. And there's a perfect example of what I mean by Science is Butler. So I've replaced Butler's name with Science, so it's him. Obviously the characteristics aren't him exactly, but it's still him in the game, if that makes sense. I know you're probably thinking, how come you're making a video on someone else's mod and not your own? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I feel this is more interesting and entertaining than, say, watching an older game. With obviously the 2018 game has the language files, but this one, it kind of doesn't. So it takes a lot to actually get this to work. And as we run through the grid now, you're going to see Ocon and Latifi will be in their respective cars, obviously with their faces. Again, the flags are incorrect, but I haven't actually looked into making a no flags mod. They might be changeable, I'm not sure. It's possible it could be, but right now I can't say for sure. So Latifi's currently Polish, but I'm sure we can look past that for this video at least. And in the cockpit of the Renault, obviously driving again once as Esteban Ocon. So it's going to be interesting to see how this race goes. But even again in the top left, you can see Ocon is the name. So that affects, obviously, when you're driving to someone else, you see their names in the race above their car. And then once the results come up as well, which is obviously pretty handy. But we're on the way, and you can see the Mercedes and Ferrari, Red Bull still at the front, and we've got some pink Mercedes just ahead of us of Sergio Perez. But it's quite tight and compacted. Leclerc actually got a little bit shafted through there. We get past Perez, and we've got Hamilton all the way down in what seems to be 5th place. So Hamilton's not had a great start by all means. But again, in terms of these cars, JB done a fantastic job. Like it really did well. Obviously, I'm gonna think that mine are amazing, but I can openly admire and say that his cars are absolutely phenomenal as well, which is to be expected. Of course, he's done this for many years, same as me, and we've had a little bit of a rivalry, probably not on his end, on my end specifically, because obviously I want to have that #1 mod, and currently we do. Touch wood, we actually have it at the moment, but it's a little bit harder to kind of see, but we're doing well. 2020 season mod and F1 2018, it's okay. It's probably not as good as I hoped it would be, and the reception, that's only because obviously F1's been cancelled in real life, so F1's kind of in a weird stagnant position at the moment, especially the games, and everyone's doing esports at the moment, so obviously there's not real motivation to do any kind of career mode or video stuff like that to a certain degree, and the watch, it really isn't there. But obviously at the end of the day, it came out pretty well. It's doing pretty good. But we're on the back of Albon. You can see what I mean about this pink Mercedes being fast. He's just shot up at the back of us. He's going down the inside of Alex Albon. Leclerc's trying to join the party at the same time, and we just lost the position like it's nothing. So Perez brakes. We slam on our brakes to avoid going into the back of him, and we're going to send it up the inside if possible. He kind of cuts us off a little bit, gives us nowhere to go, so we're going to go side by side with him. But the horsepower in that Mercedes is ridiculous. Like, it's just a joke. Leclerc gets past us. Horsepower in the Ferrari isn't anything too dissimilar, but the Renault, I noticed a lot. The Renault is so slow in a straight line, and it's definitely our car because Science didn't improve on us either. All three of the other engine suppliers just absolutely rocketed off down the straight, especially on acceleration. I feel like the top speed's not too bad, but the initial acceleration phase is really bad. They go 3 wide here into turn 2. We slam on the brakes again to avoid Leclerc, and we're going to send it up the inside, give him a little barge on the tyres, almost our fellow compatriot for Ocon at least anyway. But you can see that Albon and Perez have kind of broken away at this point. We've got Leclerc now trying to make a move. The McLarens are actually coming in pretty close, and it's not just one, it's 2 of them. It's kind of weird to see that only one of the racing points are actually up here. Obviously Stroll not the best driver in the world, but nonetheless we are behind Charles Leclerc. We get a little bit of dirty air, so we're going to have to go take a wide line. But once again, when I come through, take the F1 esports line through that corner, as if some of you saw the Veloce, not the Bahrain Grand Prix, or even the virtual Bahrain Grand Prix, all the people who knew what they were doing were taking that line. But Leclerc's joined the party. Perez and Albon still battling ahead. We've got no way of catching them. They're so far down the straight, it's ridiculous. So our fight looks towards Carlos and Lando, the 2 McLarens behind us in P8 and P9. Currently is the position they're trying to get anyway. Lando just a little bit behind Sainz, which isn't too bad. We've actually caught up quite a bit to these cars ahead. Leclerc managed to get past both of them, so Leclerc's done an absolutely amazing job there to get past Albon and Perez. But I'm going to get onto another DRS straight here. And yeah, once again, we're just going to have absolutely no hope in the slightest. Through the corners again, we're not too bad. But obviously, by any means, this Renault is definitely not the fastest car on the grid. It's not even in the top 5. So we're doing a pretty solid job. Obviously, our teammate's quite a bit down. He's fighting with the Hasses, I believe. But coming through to almost finish the penultimate lap. Perez looks like he might be available for us to overtake, but that's no guarantee. I'm sure Leclerc and Albon will fight for the rest of the lap, but we do have to keep an eye on the 2 McLarens behind us. They're definitely our biggest threat, as yeah, this Renault car. If it's anything like this in real life, then Ricciardo's going to have a really tough year, so is Esteban. But at the same token, this car has potential if they unlock the right components and stuff like that. But coming into turn 1 and about to go into turn 2, it's pretty similar. Like, there's not a massive gap. I'm definitely gaining through the braking zones, but it doesn't actually make much of a difference when it comes to the straights. They just absolutely piss off down the road. But we're going to try and do what we can to see if we can catch Perez. We're kind of playing around with our fuel settings and our ERS. We're running very marginal on both of them at this point, but we're going to do what we can and push as hard as we can to try and get past that pink Mercedes. We're going to come through the long right-hander, and we're going to absolutely drop it on the curb. You don't want to touch that curb. And ended up going around and just crashed into the wall for good measure. So that hasn't gone to plan. I'm a little bit rusty in terms of driving this game. Haven't spent an awful lot of time on it, or anything for that matter. But Bottas wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Obviously this is the short version, but nonetheless we gave it our best shot. Didn't quite happen for us, unfortunately. Giovinazzi is the car ahead, and now we are in low fuel mode, which is absolutely fantastic. That's definitely not what we want. And we're cruising about 100 miles an hour to the finish line to finish a wonderful P20. So that's not a great start to this season mod per se, but nonetheless, it is what it is. So we're going to have to take it on the chin, and hopefully the next video can be a little bit better. Toto Wolff obviously ecstatic with that race win for him. Hamilton was kind of nowhere in the end. Obviously we had the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel on the podium, and maybe Verstappen. It could be Verstappen. Oh, Hamilton did actually get onto the podium. Never mind. Max obviously bottled it at some point there, but nonetheless, we're done. It's really going to be a difficult task to get back to this game and get into a decent pace like it was when the game first came out. But I hope you have enjoyed this video, just to show off the language has changed and stuff like that. There should be some more videos on this. It's very time consuming to get the mod working, and then obviously to record after that and hoping the game doesn't crash. This game is notorious for crashing, especially if you alt tab. But if you have enjoyed the video, guys, please do slap a like on it. If you're new around here, please subscribe for more Formula 1 content. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Turn it on.